Good evening and salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching News at 10 with me, Brendan Lepal. Our top stories tonight. Unity government will continue to be strong. And also, flood mitigation re-tendering allows government to implement other projects. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim today said he is confident that the unity government he is currently leading will last for the next 5 years. In his in his speech at the PKR Special National Congress 2023 in Shah Alam today, Datuk Seri Anwar, who is also the party's president, said the confidence was based on the strong support of other parties that formed the government for the past 4 months.
Tanggungjawab kita bersama perkuatkan semangat perjuangan, gilap obor reformasi dan jentera parti harus bergerak supaya agenda madani ini dapat kita terjemahkan secara yang lebih serius dan lebih bermakna.
The Prime Minister said the unity government needs solid cooperation so that it can focus on repairing and correcting to undo the damage that occurred to further develop the country and help the rakyat. He added that there will be threats to some extent, but he is confident that the unity government will be able to face them and continue to be strong for the next 5 years. The Congress, which is held at Malawati Stadium and themed Malaysia Madani, Pelaksanaan Sebuah Idealisme, was also attended by the party's Deputy President Rafizi Ramli, Secretary General Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, DAP Secretary General Anthony Loke, Amanah Vice President Datuk Seri Dr. Mujahid Yusof, and 41 office representatives of foreign embassies. On another note, Datuk Seri Anwar insisted that the rights and position of Bumiputra and Malays are now secure more than ever under his leadership.
Ada orang sekarang setelah 22 tahun campur 22 bulan jadi kuasa, pegang kuasa, sekarang mengeluh Melayu hilang segala-galanya. Hilang harta, hilang saham. Hilang bagaimana tidak hilang kalau kamu bolot untuk keluarga kamu dan anak-anak kamu. Dan sekarang bila hilang kuasa, bicara soal rakyat. Jangan perbodohkan rakyat. Rakyat harus bangkit mempertahankan hak mereka. Kumpulkan Tun-Tun, Tan Sri, tokoh-tokoh besar. Ini kerat orang sekarang merencana untuk menggugat, menggunakan sentimen kaum, mengajak orang-orang Melayu benci kepada kaum-kaum lain, menyatakan bahawa kuasa hilang.
Furthermore, the Prime Minister is optimistic that the Malays and the poor will have their welfare protected under the unity government. And on a related matter, PKR members have been urged to continue strengthening the party to face greater challenges, including fulfilling their responsibility to the people. Its Secretary General, Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, said PKR, as the party that leads the unity government, also needs to be aware of the great responsibility of leading the country.
Marilah kita terus perkukuhkan parti keadilan. Kita garap dan himpun semua kekuatan dan kelebihan. Kita bulatkan tekad perjuangan. Kita terus melangkah sederap dengan suatu ketumbukan yang padu untuk mara ke hadapan sebagai ejen perubahan yang menyumbang kepada sebuah Malaysia Madani yang kita impikan.
He said this in his welcome speech at the PKR Special National Congress 2023, which is held at Malawati Stadium earlier today. Elaborating further on the matter, Datuk Seri Saifuddin, who is also the Home Minister, said the tests and challenges would never cease. But with everything it has been through, PKR certainly has the maturity to walk through it all. On another note, Datuk Seri Anwar said the Unity government's success in managing the flood mitigation project that was previously allocated a total of 15 billion ringgit has allowed several more similar projects to be implemented using the same funding.
Saya bukan hasrat nak pergi korek, nak hantam orang. Saya nak selamatkan dana supaya boleh pulang balik kepada rakyat. Itu kerja saya. Lihat tempatan banjir sebagai contoh, saya sebut di Parlimen. Peruntukan itu 15 bilion. Kalau ikut projek dulu, dia start setakat 9 atau 8. Bila kita buat selected tender dan buat kerja cara terlebih teratur, dia boleh tambah 2-3 projek lagi. Dari satu projek tempatan banjir di Johor, saya tambah jadi 2. Dari dana yang sama. Tetapi diurus dengan cekap dan telus.
In the meantime, Datuk Seri Anwar, who is also the Minister of Finance, said the government will continue to safeguard the fates of the people and will not allow rich individuals and companies to avoid paying taxes. Now, part of the additional allocation of 150 million ringgit announced yesterday will be used for the construction of Bailey bridges in flood-affected areas in Johor. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the construction involved collapsed roads, including in Sekijang.
Pemasangan pam-pam penyedut air untuk disedut ke sungai-sungai supaya dapat air itu dikeluarkan ke laut sedang dijalankan. Terdapat penambahan pam-pam berkuasa tinggi untuk kawasan-kawasan rendah untuk mengepam keluar banjir itu ke saliran yang lebih besar, dan usaha untuk pengagihan wang ihsan yang diberikan telah dilaksanakan sepenuhnya, walaupun mungkin ada terdapat 2-3 kes terpencil, ini akan diselesaikan.
Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid said post-flood works at about 15 affected schools in Johor are being carried out to ensure students can return to school for the 2023 to 2024 academic calendar scheduled for tomorrow. He asked parents to be patient if the schools are still unable to operate, as the state and district disaster committees are trying to coordinate the recovery work. Yesterday, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim ordered all government machinery to help in post-flood operations in Johor and approved an additional allocation of 150 million ringgit for this. The Johor government is intensifying its efforts to reduce stagnant floodwaters in Batu Pahat district using water pumps ahead of Ramadan month next week. Menteri Besar Dato' On Hafiz Ghazi said in order to speed up the process, the state government through the Department of Irrigation and Drainage has taken the approach of using water pumps in affected areas. Commenting further on the matter, Dato' On said a total of 61 water pumps are operating 24 hours a day and 12 more pumps will be added. Taking lessons from the incident, the state government is also working on another alternatives to resolve the issue, including deepening the main river in the district. The Southern Volunteers Post-Flood Mission will also carry out post-flood works in the Batu Pahat district for 4 days starting tomorrow, involving the local authority, youth organizations, NGOs and corporate bodies involving 531 volunteers. A total of 1,000 flood victims from the Hardcore Poor and B40 groups in Johor and parts of Pahang will each receive a voucher worth 300 ringgit under the Payung Rahmah initiative. Now, the voucher is to help flood-affected people, especially in Batu Pahat and Sagama, to buy electrical appliances such as washing machine and refrigerator that were damaged in the disaster.
Dan kita pun telah berkolaborasi dengan syarikat pengeluar elektrik ini. Mereka juga akan mengemukakan harga tawaran yang ada diskaun, akan kita bincang. Jadi syarikat ini mungkin menjual dengan harga diskaun. Jadi KPDN melalui SSM kita top up lagi RM300 voucher untuk mereka membeli peralatan baru yang musnah.
The minister was met after opening the new office building of the Malacca Companies Commission of Malaysia, SSM, at Fashion City, MITC, Air Keroh. up next, foreign worker quota approval and application postponed until further notice. Stay with us. But first, the Immigration Department conducted a raid on an illegal settlement in an oil palm plantation at Taman Perindustrian Air Hitam last night. 61 illegal immigrants were arrested following the operation. Its Director General, Dr. Sri Khairul Zaimi Daud, said the immigrants, 32 men and 29 women, including 18 children and a 6-month-old baby, were picked up in the operation, which began at 11:30 p.m. Surveillance found that the settlement had been established for the past 6 years. The immigrants are believed to have been using illegal power and water supply connections, and the wastewater from toilets was pumped into the river.
Hasil daripada operasi pada malam ini, laporan-laporan akan diserahkan kepada pihak berkuasa tempatan untuk mereka datang dan merobohkan penempatan ini seperti mana operasi-operasi yang dijalankan sebelum ini di Nilai, di kawasan Cyberjaya, dan kita sememangnya tidak boleh membenarkan untuk mereka terus mendirikan rumah dan membesarkan kediaman mereka di penempatan-penempatan haram ini kerana ia menjadi ancaman kepada kesihatan penduduk-penduduk tempatan di kawasan sekitar.
Checks also revealed that the immigrants do not possess valid travel documents, and 7 of them have letters issued by the Indonesian embassy to return to their home countries during the COVID-19 pandemic. The quota application and approval for foreign workers, including through the Foreign Worker Employment Relaxation Plan, or PKPPA, has been postponed beginning today until further notice. Human Resources Minister V. Sivakumar said the decision was made after the ministry approved a total of 995,396 employment quotas for foreign workers from various sectors. He said that the number of approvals had taken into account foreign worker applications that were normally processed, and through the PKPPA, which includes 5 critical sectors, namely manufacturing, construction, plantation, agriculture and services for restaurants only. The approval of the foreign worker quota so far is expected to be able to meet the needs of foreign labour by industries, including in critical sectors. In addition, he said the postponement was to ensure that employers who were given quota approval to start making plans for the immediate entry of foreign workers. The number of foreign workers coming in is still low compared to the number of quotas that have been approved by the ministry. In other news, the East Coast Rail-linked ECRL project has achieved the milestone of 10 million saved man-hours without any lost time injury or LTI. According to Malaysia Rail-Link Sendirian Berhad, the achievement was recorded at the end of February, underpinned by the implementation of safe work practices on a 24/7 basis and effective teamwork at all levels of the project. The announcement of the achievement was made in conjunction with the launch of the ECRL Safety and Health Campaign 2023 at the project's Section 4 Casting Yard in Dungun. The project has a manpower of about 17,000 currently, consisting of personnel from the project owner, contractor and its subcontractors. On the campaign, MRL Chief Executive Officer Datuk Sri Darwis Abdul Razak said it was launched to further instill safety awareness, identify potential hazards and enhance workers' confidence. Themed Alert Today, Alive Tomorrow. The campaign will complement the rapid construction of the 665-kilometre ECRL alignment involving some 350 main work sites. Former Pakistan PM Imran Khan appears in court, fearing arrest. That more coming up in our foreign segment. But first, as Indonesians prepare to shop for new clothes and food for the upcoming holy months of Ramadan, rising inflation has put a dampener on people's spirit in the lead-up to the Idul Fitri festival. Indonesia's Consumer Price Index, or CPI, has accelerated to 5.47% in February this year, compared to 2.64% in March last year, during the then Ramadan month, according to latest central bank data. The rising prices were keenly felt by shoppers thronging a wet market in Jakarta, looking for the cheapest fish, meat and vegetables, ahead of the fasting month of Ramadan expected to start on 22nd March. Indonesian food prices typically rise ahead of the Muslim fasting month of Ramadan, which was further compounded since last year by a shortage of crude palm oil, leading to a rise in cooking oil prices. This year, prices of food, mainly rice and cooking oil, again rose in most provinces in the past month, and they are expected to rise further in coming weeks due to high demand, according to the central bank governor. Shoppers were also out in force and eager to spend, compared to a year ago when lingering coronavirus lockdown measures held people back from gathering in large numbers and limited their purchases. To help Indonesians deal with inflation worsened by expected dry weather and drop in food output, Chief Economic Minister Airlangga Hartarto said the government will provide social assistance by distributing rice, eggs and chicken during Ramadan. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan appeared in court today as police were entering his home and after he expressed fear of arrest in a standoff with the government that has led to intense clashes with his supporters. Facing a spate of legal challenges, including one that prompted a failed attempt to arrest him on Tuesday, Khan was addressing charges in the court in the capital Islamabad of unlawful selling state gifts given to him by foreign dignitaries while in office. Khan says he followed legal procedures in acquiring the gifts. The court has previously issued arrest warrants for Khan in the case as he had failed to appear on previous hearings despite summons. On his assurance that he would appear today, the court granted Khan protection against arrest, but he said he feared the police and government planned to take him into custody. Pakistan's information minister said this week the government had nothing to do with the police action and the police were complying with court orders. The case being heard today pertains to charges that Khan sold luxury watches and other items given to the state during his 2018 to 2022 term as Prime Minister. There were reports of fresh clashes between police and supporters of Khan and his party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf (PTI) in Lahore. Punjab Information Minister Amir Mir told Reuters that police had arrived outside Khan's house to collect evidence about attacks on police and people wanted in various cases. US President Joe Biden said that Russian President Vladimir Putin has clearly committed war crimes and the International Criminal Court's ICC decision to issue an arrest warrant for him was justified. The ICC earlier called for Putin's arrest on suspicion of unlawful deportation of children and unlawful transfer of people from Ukraine to Russia since Moscow's invasion began of its neighbor last year. The United States separately has concluded that Russian forces have committed war crimes in Ukraine and supports accountability for perpetrators of war crimes, a State Department spokesperson said in an email statement. The ICC move obligates the court's 123 member states to arrest Putin and transfer him to The Hague for trial if he sets foot on their territory. The ICC also issued a warrant for Maria Lvova-Belova, Russia's Commissioner for Children's Rights, on the same charges. A US-backed report by Yale University researchers last month said Russia has held at least 6,000 Ukrainian children in at least 43 camps and other facilities as part of a, quote, large-scale systematic network. Russia has denied accusations that its forces have committed atrocities during its invasion. The Kremlin said the ICC arrest warrant against Putin was outrageous, but meaningless with respect to Russia. Cyclone Yaku and the consequent floods and landslides have caused at least 50 deaths in Peru over the past several months, with more than 50,000 people affected. Peruvian President Dina Boluarte said the powerful cyclone wreaked havoc across the South American country and at least 50 deaths and 48 injured had been reported from the 1st of January to the 14th March. In addition, over 1,300 houses were destroyed, 640 kilometres of roads and 111 bridges damaged, over 11,000 hectares of crops affected and 28,000 animals lost, according to the official data. Ikuti torrential rains are leading to rising water levels in the Rimak River that runs past the capital, Lima. Heavy rains also inundated streets at San Miguel district of Lima, with workers busy diverting floodwaters into the drainage system. A hospital in the city has also been affected, where flooded rooms and damaged roof and ceilings have caused disruption to its normal operation. Doctors and nurses were seen using buckets and brooms to try to remove floodwaters from the building. President Boluarte called on all sectors of the society to pool efforts to rebuild the disaster-stricken country. The campaign will involve regional and local governments, international cooperation, churches, media outlets, professional associations, private sector and civil society, as well as the armed forces and national police. And in sports, unvaccinated Djokovic to miss Miami Open after being denied entry to US. Stay with us. We begin with football. Johor Darul Ta'zim JDT are always ready to release their players to represent the national team, provided the competitions are held during World Governing Body FIFA's calendar for international matches. JDT owner Tunku Ismail Sultan Ibrahim, who is also the Tunku Mahkota of Johor TMJ, said if that condition is met, he will also not hesitate to lend the club's facilities and expertise as a sign of their full support for the Harimau Malaya.
Saya kalau FIFA kalender saya sentiasa mengizinkan dan saya akan beri support sepenuhnya. Tetapi kalau tak ada dalam jadual FIFA, bagi pandangan saya, orang yang membayar gaji pemain, saya rasa benda itu tiada faedah, membuang masa. Jadi kalau FIFA kalender ataupun mana-mana FIFA punya competition, memang saya akan bukan saja memberi pemain-pemain, tetapi juga saya sedia offer pasukan kebangsaan apa sahaja teknologi yang ada di Johor Darul Ta'zim dan fasiliti yang ada. Mereka boleh pakai. Macam malam ni mereka ada training di Padang Seri Gelam, pusat latihan kami.
The TMJ statement puts to rest national football fans' assumption that JDT are not keen on releasing their players to join the Harimau Malaya, who are coached by South Korean Kim Panggon. The issue cropped up when Harimau Malaya supporters felt that JDT refused to release their players for the 2022 ASEAN Football Federation AFF Cup competition, despite being called up by Panggon. National men's singles shuttler Ng Se-yong's journey in the 2023 All England has come to an end after he was eliminated in the quarterfinals early today. The world number 28 lost 11-21, 11-21 to Li Shifeng of China in a battle that lasted 41 minutes at Utilita Arena in Birmingham. Shifeng, ranked 14th in the world, will face Anders Antonsen of Denmark, who edged Indonesia's Anthony Sinisuka Ginting 21-14, 19-21, 21-17. Se-yong stunned Denmark's world number 1 and defending champion Victor Axelsen to storm into the quarterfinals. Professional shuttler Lee Zijia, who advanced to the semifinals after eliminating rising Japanese star Kodai Naraoka 21-9, 10-21, 21-13 last night, now remains the nation's sole representative in the tournament. World number 4 Zijia will next face Shi Yu-chi of China, who easily defeated compatriot Weng Hongyang 21-9, 21-16. And in tennis, Novak Djokovic will miss next week's Miami Open after the Serbian was denied an exemption that would have allowed him to enter the US despite not being vaccinated against COVID-19. Tournament director James Blake said the organizers tried to get Djokovic to be allowed to get an exemption, but to no avail. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and the state's 2 U.S. senators were among those calling on the Biden administration to allow world number 1 Djokovic to enter the U.S. and compete at a tournament he has won 6 times. Djokovic, 35, is also missing the ongoing Masters event in Indian Wells, California, due to inability to secure the exemption. The U.S. currently bars unvaccinated foreigners from entry into the country, a policy that is expected to be lifted when the government ends its COVID-19 emergency declarations on 11 May. Djokovic, who missed last year's Australian Open after being deported from that country due to his vaccination status, has said he would skip Grand Slams rather than have a COVID shot. He won his record-tying 22nd Grand Slam at the Australian Open in January and has not played at Indian Wells or the Miami Open, which together comprise the Sunshine Double since 2019. Elena Rybakina knocked out defending champion Iga Swiatek with a 6-2, 6-2 semi-final victory at Indian Wells to set up a clash against Aryna Sabalenka in the final. 2 months after Rybakina knocked Swiatek out of the Australian Open in the 4th round, the Wimbledon champion once again put in an impressive display against the world number 1. Rybakina was in control from the start, breaking early to take a 2-love lead before going on to clinch the first set when Swiatek produced a double fault on set point. Swiatek tested Rybakina's serve in the first game of the second set, but the Kazakh held under pressure and then won the next 4 games to take a 5-love lead. The Pole saved a break point to hold and avoid a bagel before breaking to further reduce the arrears, but Rybakina broke back immediately to extinguish the comeback and secure the win. Rybakina will be out for revenge when she faces Sabalenka, who defeated her in the Australian Open final in January. The Belarusian leads 4-0 in their head-to-head. Earlier, Australian Open champion Sabalenka was not at her best in a 6-2, 6-3 win over Greece's Maria Sakkari, but maintained her composure even when her old nemesis, the double fault, reared its ugly head on a sunny day in the Southern California desert. After the start of the match was delayed by more than 30 minutes to fix an audio issue related to the electronic line calling system, Sabalenka cracked an ace out wide to open the match. She broke Sakkari for a 3rd time on an errant Sakkari forehand to capture the first set, but the Belarusian's frustration began to mount in the second, when the double faults gave Sakkari a look at break points at 2-all. Sabalenka regrouped to hold for 3-2 and broke Sakkari in a lengthy deuce game for a 4-2 advantage she would not relinquish, pouncing on a short return of serve on match point and burying the ball with an emphatic backhand. And on to Formula One, Lewis Hamilton wants to stay at Mercedes, but the team boss, Toto Wolff, said he would have no grouch if the 7 times Formula One world champion felt the need to look elsewhere in future. The 38-year-old Briton is out of contract at the end of the 2023 season and has not won a race since his record 103rd in December 2021, with Mercedes struggling to provide a competitive car. Mercedes had the 4th fastest car in the season opener in Bahrain, with Hamilton telling reporters he reckoned Red Bull had a 2.5 advantage per lap.
If we cannot demonstrate that we are able to give him a car in the next couple of years, then he needs to look everywhere. I don't think he's doing it at that stage, but I will have no grouch if that happens in a year or 2.
And that's it from us. In our top story, Unity government will continue to be strong. Tune in to the news at 10, coming up at 10 p.m. or by Freeview sound on Berita RTM channel 123 tomorrow, or you can also watch the updates at noon at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow on TV2. You can also stream it online via YouTube or RTM's Clickbait portal and mobile app. Till then, it's lights out. I'm Brendan Paul. Have a pleasant weekend.